Are you looking to move to Omaha, Nebraska? Should you rent or should you buy? This is a big decision and it's going to depend upon your individual situation. How much money do you have saved up? How much debt do you have? How stable is your job situation? Do you have any money in reserve? What about your family situation? If it takes two incomes to buy a home in today's market, how stable is your relationship? It's going to be a tough decision. Now, maybe you should do both. Move to Omaha for 6 months to a year, rent, and then learn the city, find out what you like about our city. Do you enjoy going downtown? Do you like the zoo? Or do you want to be out in the suburbs? How close do you need to be to work? All of these questions factor into the situation, and everybody's situation is going to be different. What may be a good move for one person may not be work for someone else. You got to do what's best for you and your family. Now, let's jump into today's topic. My name is David Matney with Nebraska Realty. I'm a local realtor here in Omaha, Nebraska. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in the Omaha area, and if you're looking to move to Omaha and you'd like to jump on a 20-minute consultation free of charge, there's no obligation. My contact information is in the description below. I'll also drop a link to my calendar where you can book a consultation. We can jump on a quick Zoom call for 20 to 30 minutes, have a conversation, and to see if I can help you. Let's jump on Zillow and find a home to rent. This looks like a nice place. 18868 Lamont Street, Omaha, Nebraska, in the 68130 zip code. It's in the Oakmont subdivision in West Omaha. Now, it's a 2-story home, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, with a 2-car garage and 2,780 square feet. It is rented for $2,400 a month, and it's located in the Millard Public School District. Let's take a quick look at the photos. Now let's go to the MLS and look at a home that has recently sold in the same subdivision. 3662 South 191st Avenue is in the same subdivision, same school district. It's a 3-bedroom, 4-bath, 2-car garage with a total of 2,611 square feet. So it's a little bit smaller. It was listed with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Ambassador Real Estate. Both these homes were built by the same builder, Hearthstone Homes, which during the Great Recession, Hearthstone Homes went out of business. One negative about this property is that it backs to 192nd Street. Anytime you have a property that backs to a busy street, there's always going to be a little bit of a ding in terms of value when you back to a busy street or if you're on a busy street. And you always want to pay attention to these types of details because it may not be a big deal to you if you're going in to purchase this property, but it may be a big deal to someone else when you go to sell the property. This home was listed on December 15th, 2023, and they received a contract that very same day. It was listed for $325,000 and it sold a full price that very same day. And there's 2 things to note about that. And that is, number 1, homes sell quickly in a seller's market. And just because it's Christmas time, buyers are still out there. Motivated buyers are looking for homes all year long. Will activity drop off in December? Absolutely. But that doesn't mean activity has gone away. It just means that fewer buyers are out there. But the serious ones are going to be buying homes all year long. Let's take a look at affordability. Unfortunately, that's a real challenge in today's market. For a home to be affordable and within your budget, many experts say that the housing cost can be no more than 28% of your gross income. And your combined debt should be no more than 36% of your gross income. Now, do we see violations of this? Yes, and it's going to depend upon your comfort level and your situation. Unfortunately, in today's market, you got to have really good income and you have to have very little debt in order to purchase homes at today's prices. Okay, let's look at the maximum mortgage amount. Let's start with an interest rate of today. They're right around 7%, and this will be for a 30-year loan. Okay, let's look at the income of the borrower and the co-borrower. So we have a monthly salary of $5,600 for the first borrower, and for the co-borrower, we have a monthly salary of $4,800. So combined total, they make close to $125,000, which in the Omaha area, both folks have really good paying jobs. For a monthly income, they have $10,400 in combined income. Let's look at their debt situation. One spouse has a car loan for $500 a month. The minimum credit card payment is $35 a month. And one spouse has a $250 student loan payment. And the co-borrower is no debt, no auto loans. Now let's look at their monthly housing expenses. And this is taken directly from our example property on the MLS. The real estate taxes were $5,100 a year. Hazard insurance was around $2,900. Now, keep in mind, in the Omaha area, our property taxes are high and our hazard insurance is high as well. And another reason why you want to have good credit is because your premium for your hazard insurance is affected by your credit score. So you always want to take good care of your credit. Now, there is a homeowners association dues of $150 annually. And what that is for is that's for taking care of the entrance to the subdivision. Okay, they're going to be coming in with less than 20% down, so they will have to pay a little bit in private mortgage insurance or PMI. Okay, with a monthly income of $10,400, monthly liabilities of $785 a month, and monthly housing expenses totaling $854 a month, how much can they afford in terms of a maximum loan amount? At 7%, the maximum mortgage would be for $309,308, and their maximum monthly payment, and this is principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, would be $2,912. Let's go ahead and put these numbers in a rent versus buy calculator. So we got a purchase price of $325,000 at a 7% interest rate for a 30-year loan. The loan amount would be $308,750. Their monthly payment, and this is just principal and interest, would be $2,054.12. But you also have taxes and insurance. So taxes, that $5,100 in taxes, that's about 1.5% towards their property taxes in terms of percentage. The home insurance, that $2,900 would be about 0.9% of insurance. They're going to have monthly maintenance. So let's just calculate $100. And again, it's going to vary. You buy an older home, you got to put more aside in terms of budgeting for maintenance. So their monthly payment would be $2,932.77. Now let's look at their down payment and closing costs. Now, cash on hand, they have $25,000, and we're not calculating a loan origination or there's no points. That's going to be factored into their interest rate. But they're going to come in with about 2% of their purchase price towards their closing costs. Okay, so all total, they're coming in with a down payment of 5%, which would be $16,250. And then they have closing costs of $8,750. What about the rent? How does that compare to the rent? Okay, so if they have a monthly rent of $2,400, they have that cash on hand. That's going to be invested instead of applied to a down payment. If they invested that money, what would be their estimated rate of return? Well, in this case, we're going to calculate 10%, and that falls along the S&P 500, but not everybody gets 10%. But in this situation, let's put it at 10%. Now, their income tax rate, what is their tax rate as somebody that makes $125,000 a year as a couple? We're going to calculate that at 22%. This was a married couple and they made close to $125,000, so they would be in the 22% tax bracket. Now, what is the expected rate of inflation? Now, the Fed's target rate is 2%. Right now, it's currently hovering right around 3%. What will it be over the next course of several years? Nobody knows for sure, but this is where we just kind of put our best guesstimate on it. So in this case, we're going to put 3%. What about appreciation rate. What is it going to appreciate at? Because the home's not going to stay at the current value. Hopefully it goes up in value, but that's not always the case. Home prices can go down in value. But in this case, we're going to calculate a 3% appreciation rate. And then when you go to sell it in the future, there's going to be a commission involved. Now, commission here, we're going to just figure in 5%, but keep in mind, commissions are 100% negotiable. Okay, that's between the client and the broker, but there's no such thing as a standard commission. We're going to put 5% in here, but the seller could sell it for sale by owner and not pay a commission at all. Or the seller could do it for sale by owner and maybe just pay a buyer's agent commission. So commissions are negotiable. This would be if the seller decided to hire an agent and then that broker decided to pay a cooperating broker if they brought a buyer. So in this case, we're just going to put in a 5% commission, but understand commissions are negotiable. Now, this is home equity versus investment. So that investment is going to be earning money, and the home equity, you're going to be, as you're paying off the property, your equity is going to be increasing over time. Now, the green arrow is your equity in the home, and then the lighter blue arrow is the net sales price, because remember, there's a commission involved. If we had a lower commission, that gap between the green and light blue arrows would be smaller. The dark blue line is your investment total, because remember that $16,000 is going to be put to work, or that $25,000, that cash on hand is going to be put at a 10% investment rate. And where the light blue line crosses and the dark investment total crosses, that's your break-even point. So your home purchase would break even after 2.6 years. So as long as you stayed in the home for at least 2.5 years, you'd break even. This graph here shows the green is your rent payment and the dark blue is your net house payment. Now, your net house payment, when you buy a home, you're locked in your principal and interest for the next 30 years. But keep in mind, your insurance is going to go up and your taxes are going to go up. But here's the thing. If you rent, guess what? Your rent is going to go up as well. And this just kind of breaks it down over the next 10 years. But if we look at year 10, because it's going to go up, the rent payment would be $3,225, while your net house payment would be $2,222. So should you rent or should you buy? Even with rates at 7%, when you punch in the numbers and look at the numbers, it still makes sense as long as you're going to be in the home for 2.5 years. Now, again, every situation is going to be different.